In 1971, the Perron family moved into a historic farmhouse in Harrisville, Rhode Island. With 7 children, the large 14-room house seemed like the perfect start to a new life. But they were unaware that the house's bloody history was waiting for them. The property had been the site of suicides, murders, and mysterious deaths, and a malevolent entity had claimed it as her domain. Bathsheba Sherman. The dream house would soon become a living hell. The Perrons' first days in their new home were filled with excitement and hope. The sprawling farmhouse, with its weathered clapboard siding and expansive grounds, promised an idyllic rural life. But as night fell and shadows lengthened, an unsettling atmosphere began to creep in. Strange noises echoed through the old walls, creaks and groans that seemed to come from nowhere. At first, the family dismissed these as the normal sounds of an aging house settling, but soon, more inexplicable events began to occur. Objects would mysteriously move on their own when no one was looking. Carolyn Perron, the mother, often found the broom standing upright in the kitchen, as if someone had just been sweeping. The children reported seeing shadowy figures darting through doorways. A pervasive feeling of being watched plagued the family, even in the brightest hours of day. The youngest Perron children, in their innocence, began to speak of invisible friends, playmates that only they could see. They would giggle and chatter with these unseen entities, much to their parents' initial amusement. But as time went on, the nature of these friends became increasingly sinister. The children's laughter turned to screams in the night, as they were tormented by nightmarish visions and unseen hands grabbing at them in the dark. One particularly chilling incident occurred when Andrea, the eldest Perron daughter, was lying in bed one night. She felt something grab her leg and start to pull. Terrified, she clung to her bedsheets, feeling an otherworldly tug-of-war. When she finally managed to turn on the light, there was nothing there, but the fear remained, along with bruises that appeared the next morning. As the paranormal activity escalated, the Perron family began to realize they were dealing with more than just a few harmless ghosts. Among the many spirits that seemed to inhabit the house, one stood out as exceptionally malevolent: Bathsheba Sherman. Research into the property's history revealed a dark past connected to this name. Bathsheba Sherman had lived on the land in the 19th century and was rumored to be a practitioner of the dark arts. Local legend held that she had sacrificed her own child to the devil, and that she had cursed the land and all who would dare to live upon it. Now, it seemed, her vengeful spirit had set its sights on the Perron family, particularly on Carolyn, the matriarch. Carolyn became the focus of increasingly violent supernatural attacks. She would wake up covered in bruises, feeling as if she had been beaten in her sleep. Strange, needle-like pains would shoot through her body at random times. But the most terrifying encounter came one night when Carolyn was lying in bed, paralyzed with fear. She felt something grab her leg and pull it off the bed. As she struggled to move, to scream, to do anything, she opened her eyes and saw a horrifying sight. Hovering above her was a creature that barely resembled a human. Its head was twisted at an unnatural angle. matted hair hanging in clumps around a face contorted into a wicked grin. This was Bathsheba, revealing herself in all her terrifying glory. The encounters with Bathsheba and the other spirits became so frequent and frightening that the Perron family knew they needed help. In desperation, they reached out to Ed and Lorraine Warren, famous demonologists known for their work on paranormal cases. The Warrens had seen their share of hauntings, but even they were shocked by the intensity of the activity at the Perron house. Ed and Lorraine arrived at the farmhouse armed with their arsenal of paranormal investigation equipment: EMF meters, infrared cameras, and audio recorders. As they walked through the house, their devices lit up like Christmas trees, indicating an unprecedented level of supernatural energy. Lorraine, a gifted clairvoyant, was overwhelmed by the psychic impressions she received. She sensed not just one or two spirits, but a veritable legion of entities, with Bathsheba as their cruel and powerful leader. The Warrens conducted several investigations, each more intense than the last. But it was during A that things truly spiraled out of control. This wasn't like the dramatized versions seen in movies. This was raw, terrifying, and all too real. As Ed and Lorraine attempted to communicate with the spirits, Caroline suddenly began to convulse. Her eyes rolled back in her head, and she began speaking in languages she had never learned. The room descended into chaos. Furniture shook and objects flew off shelves. The temperature plummeted, and an otherworldly wind whipped through the room. Caroline, clearly possessed, lashed out with inhuman strength. It took several people to restrain her as Ed desperately attempted an impromptu exorcism. The Perron children, witnessing this horrifying scene, were scarred for life by the sight of their mother in the grips of demonic possession. In the aftermath of the Warrens advised the Perrons to leave the house immediately, but financial constraints and a stubborn determination to reclaim their home kept the family there for another 9 agonizing years. During this time, the paranormal activity never truly ceased. The family learned to live with a constant undercurrent of fear, never knowing when Bathsheba or the other spirits might strike next. Even after finally moving out, the Perron family members carried the psychological scars of their ordeal. To this day, they recount their experiences with a mix of fear and awe. Andrea Perron, now an adult, has written books about the haunting and speaks at paranormal conferences. She maintains that every terrifying moment they experienced was absolutely real. The farmhouse still stands today, a seemingly innocuous structure that holds dark secrets within its walls. Other families have lived there since the Perrons, with mixed reports of paranormal activity. Some claim to have experienced similar phenomena, while others report nothing out of the ordinary. Paranormal investigators continue to be drawn to the property, hoping to capture evidence of Bathsheba's lingering presence. The case of the Perron family and their encounter with Bathsheba Sherman has become one of the most famous hauntings in American history. It served as the inspiration for the hit movie The Conjuring, bringing the story to a wider audience. While the film took some liberties with the details, the core of the story a family terrorized by malevolent spirits, remains true to the Perron's account. Skeptics, of course, have their doubts. They point to the lack of concrete evidence and suggest that the family may have been influenced by the power of suggestion or pre-existing beliefs in the paranormal. But for those who lived through it, the Perrons, the Warrens, and others who have encountered the dark energy of the house, these events were all too real. The case of the Perron family proved that demons don't just exist in fairy tales. They exist in the very homes we live in. Is Bathsheba still there? And do you dare to face the truth behind the horror movies? Let us know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to help us uncover the most terrifying mysteries.